This is the beginning of a tale of the founding of a nation ruled by a just king, the Maze King, and how I became the first loyal subject to serve our kingdom. So recently, I got invited by a viewer to join their server, and I thought to myself, you know what? Why not? And so I joined. As I logged on for the first real play session, the first thing I did was of course collect some wood. And as I open up my inventory, you might notice that first of all I have a bunch of junk from the first time where I unofficially was on the server, but most importantly, that for some reason I was Steve. And I'm very sad to inform you that this did not fix itself and I stayed Steve for the rest of the video. Anyways, as I started playing, I was introduced to the laws of this world that I had just become a part of. And I will not be going over every one of them, but simply highlight a few essential ones. The world is divided into nations. Every nation functions as a separate entity with its own rules, but the one thing they do have in common is that every citizen must carry a symbol of their nation. This symbol can be almost anything as long as it clearly signifies what nation you have pledged your allegiance to. The nation I was gonna join was called the MazeKingdom. And I did actually contemplate making my own nation, but since I didn't really have any ways of getting subjects, it would be a one-person nation, and that's just kinda sad. Anyways, the mark that we had to show that we were Mazians is a passport signed by none other than our king. This was the first thing I needed to get, other than, basic survival essentials. And I got this passport pretty unceremoniously, but I still promised to keep it close and never lose it, as that would mean my entry into the kingdom would no longer be allowed, as anyone who entered into the Maze Kingdom would be required to show a proof of their citizenship. Now, if this is the first time you watch one of my videos, you might not know this, but I can assure you that it was very unlikely I was gonna be able to keep this passport safe, because I'm very prone to cases of sudden death due to stupidity and/or overambition. So I went mining to collect some iron so I could get some gear that would keep me and my passport safe in the future. And while I was mining, King Maze told me why the strict passport policies had been implemented. Apparently, a citizen of another nation had been stealing from our great kingdom. Oh, how dare they! And this was obviously unforgivable, but we decided to do things in a diplomatic manner and save revenge for another day. Then we went on to talk about the server economy and how to avoid inflation if people start duping items. And honestly, I'm not totally against duping myself, but I do see many ways that it could ignite some conflict later on. But that's a problem for another day, so we went on to other great topics. As we kept on chatting, I ventured deeper into the dark caves, and with a mob cap expanded to that of 3 people, there was an abundance of skeletons, creepers, and more. But as the pro Minecraft player that I obviously am, I fought through every battle unscathed. Well, at least until I died. Well damn, I should have brought some more food. So I started to collect some beef, but after I'd barely started, I noticed something. Ground items will be removed in 60 seconds? What? Where did my 5 minutes go? So I started running. I knew there was very little chance I was gonna make it back there because I had died all the way at the bottom in the caves, but I knew I had to try because I had died with almost a stack of iron ore on me. And more importantly, my irreplaceable passport that I had just gotten from the king. So I had to hurry. Then the warning hit me with 20 seconds left, and my hope just gave out. Well, I can at least tell you now that I didn't even reach the hole down into the mine before all the items had been cleared. 81 items. Well, I guess there goes my inventory. No. All my stuff. Yes, indeed, with 1 F. But this really wasn't that big of a loss. It might have sent me back to square one, but it didn't take me very long to reach the same point again that I'd been at. Okay, I think I have basically all the same stuff that I had when I died, so let's keep moving forward. There did come one good thing out of me dying though, because we were only playing 3 people on the server, and this bad boy was cleaning ground items left, right, and center, so we agreed that we should probably extend the time between each clearing, even though it might cost the server to lag a bit more, but it was fine. Then at some point while I was mining, I found an abandoned mine shaft. Although I didn't get much from it, I did get a name tag and a golden apple. Later, I switched from caving to strip mining, and this is where I found my first diamonds, but these end up being so incredibly worthless that you almost won't believe it. But suddenly, something was going on up on the surface. There had been a run-in between King Maze and the player called ShiftKeys within the bounds of the MazeKingdom, and a passport check was due. So I decided to go back to the surface to see how things would play out. Oh yeah, and on my way I tamed a dog. So this was the first time we entered the territory of the kingdom, and since we don't have any gates, I just broke through the wall. Don't mind me, let me seal that back up and no one will ever know. As you can see, we have a castle on top of the mountain. A gorgeous gem of our nation, of course, although you could say there is room for improvement. Anyways, unbeknownst to me, while I was climbing the steep mountain, a fight had broken out within the castle, and the foreign infiltrator ShiftKeys was slain by King Maze right before I walked through the door. This is when I remembered that I too was passportless, and I knew I had to fess up if I didn't want to meet the same fate. But luckily for me, our king is a just king who knows their subjects well, and I got one even more unceremoniously than the last time. Oh wow, that was easy. Well, I guess that's just lucky for me that I'm not gonna be murdered today. Now that I had gotten my new passport and was inside the walls of the kingdom, I saw it fitting to find a place where I'd be settling and build my very first house. Mr. Doggo and I decided on this place in the northern end of the grounds within the walls and started on building the house. You know, Mr. Doggo isn't a very creative name, and since I did find a name tag earlier, I thought I'd let the internet name the dog, so if you have a name for the dog, leave a comment down below and I'll pick a name for it before the next episode. Next to my house, I decided to make a gate in the wall, which I fittingly called Northern Gate since we're in the north. I also thought that for now this will function as my base, but in the future when I want to move into something a little bigger, this house could easily be repurposed as a gatekeeper's house or a passport checkpoint. Then at some point while I was building, the server became really laggy and did some funny things. Whoa, what just happened? I can't even pick up items. Like there is some major rubber banding going on right now. Nonetheless, I did manage to finish the gate. And later, when I was making a futile attempt at mining some diamonds, a much-needed clearing of the ground items came along. 100,000 ground items cleared? What is going on? We're like 2 people online. This did seem to somewhat fix the lag issues that I'd been having, and I continued with the construction of my starter house. I logged off the server for the day, and when I came back on the next day, King Maze was online, waiting for me with quite a surprise, and I was summoned to the castle. When I arrived at the castle, I was led down a long stairway and into a secret vault where gear for an entire army of netherite-wearing soldiers had been procured. And a full set of armor was graciously bestowed upon me by the king. At a loss for words, I equipped myself with this great gift, and it dawned on me just how worthless the diamonds I had spent hours collecting were now that I had become a soldier of the kingdom. Later, the third member of our nation joined the server, and both Type and King Maze came by my house to say hello before they too started their builds and their stories. Then it was Type's turn to be summoned to the castle, and this time a much grander initiation into the ranks of our kingdom was due. And if you'll let me reenact their conversation. Look at this, Type. The wall that surrounds us. Yeet. The ocean, the forest, and everything beyond. It's ours. Yeet. But, except for the happiness kingdom? That's the but. You see, Type, do you want everything for this kingdom? Heck yeah! Will you fight? Conquer! Yeah! You want this all right? Yeah! Good. Then you're with me, yeah? Yeah? Even if everything else goes to SHT, you're with me. Yeah. Awesome. Good to know, Type. Then I too was called to the tower, but I didn't get very far because King Maze was already right next to me, so. And that is how the tale of our kingdom, our nation, and our quest towards world domination began. And if you want to see this story continue, make sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already, so you're always ready for another video. And that was all I had for you today, so I'll see you later.